Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. Many times, I'm sure that you've had this thought when it comes to your health, whether it's your physical health, your mental health, you try different things and you come to this self-realization that nothing works. Like I did this, that didn't make a difference. I have somebody very close to me. I suggested hypnotherapy. They did 3 sessions. They said, nah, it doesn't work. Why? Why? It worked for me beautifully. And that's just one modality. We're going to talk about that. Why nothing works. Some things do. A lot of times people say they don't. Why is that? He is a hypnotherapist, an acupuncturist, a healer, intuitive coach, and so much more. Always get a lot of insight when we talk with him. It's Chris DiStefano back on the program. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having me, Steve. How are you?
Very well. Very well. I'm trying to think of things that I may have done to come to that realization of it doesn't work. There's not many of them, especially in the call it metaphysical self-improvement area. Things I've done worked. Sometimes you got to give it time. That's there. But I'm sure you've worked with people before, and they say, "Well, it didn't work." Right? That's just everybody's different. Not everything's in it. One size doesn't fit all, right?
So, what made me think of this is who do I see? Who are my clients? Who are my patients? And what's the main issue? The main issue with a lot of people that get referred to me, I saw a young lady the other day, she works in healthcare. I see a disproportionate amount of my patients work in healthcare. And she was referred by 2 of her coworkers for a thrown out back. And she's done the usual and customary, including muscle relaxants and steroids, and nothing worked. And the reason nothing worked is there's quite a few. Number one, medicine has become so pigeonholed. Someone may be a super high level expert. Let's say you see a podiatrist for your plantar fasciitis. The podiatrist knows more about the foot than I'd ever want to. But the plantar fasciitis, the pain in your heel, is coming from your calf, or maybe even coming from your hip. So no one ever looks beyond their little circle.
Yep.
Part B, muscles. Now, muscles hold the tension in our mind, in our beliefs, and in our body. No one in medicine looks at the muscles as an underlying cause. So let's take a migraine, for example. I've seen people that have taken all the different medications, and yes, the medications have side effects. Why? Let's take Topamax, which one of my patients told me he calls Dopamax because it makes you very dopey, or gabapentin, or anything like that, same class. Or a muscle relaxant. The original muscle relaxant was a Valium. When you want to relax the muscles that are causing the headache, no one admits this in the neurology world. They don't talk about it, but they know it's true. I know because I've spoken to them. Rather than addressing the muscles that are underlying it, and what's underneath the muscles are habitual thoughts, belief systems, and habits. We have to shift who we are and how we interact with the world. Spoiler alert, that's where I'm going. But they don't look at the muscles. So the patient never looks at the muscles. So they suffer literally for years or decades because nobody's treating the simple underlying, because the SCM muscle is a little fun to work on. I do it all the time. Most people, including pain management, completely ignores that muscle. Don't ask me why. They do lots of amazing things. No one does it. Now, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus here, but I will say with the new method I developed that helps people to learn how to heal themselves. I spoke to a massage therapy friend of mine and I said, "Hey, you want to learn this?" She's like, "No." Why not? Because I will lose my regular clients. That's the entire mentality of medicine, whether or not anyone says it out loud. Keeping you in a state, like my goal for everyone is not to get them healthy. My goal is to get them optimal, because that's what's possible for me. So we have this credibility gap. No one's looking at muscles. No one's looking into the deep underlying stuff, which is the stress and the belief systems. And when I say everything, why nothing works, spirituality, I was big into a lot of the non-dual and all this other stuff. All they say is the body's not real and the mind, the story's not real. When we push away parts of ourselves, we develop pathology. So even in spirituality, you're going to see it. So all of this, and the best part is, because I know I've gone in a whole lot of circles, the best part is, if you want to get well, our bodies are trying to speak to us. We have to listen and act. If you want to get well, change your life. Your body is trying to get you to do that. People who are not holding their space, who are not loving themselves, who are not respecting themselves, who are not acting from their authenticity will be pathologically ill because they are out of sync with who they are.
So many things to talk about here.
Sorry about that. Quite the
No, it's all
monologue.
good. It's all good. And we'll work our way back. So when we get ill, the body is trying to tell you something. Would you
Yes.
say that? Yeah. So
I'd say every time.
so
Every
you,
time.
so you need to make changes.
You need to listen.
Hmm. In my journey, I'm going to agree with that 100%.
Steve, I'm talking about even outside stuff like you trip on a curb, you get, hit by a car. It's all the world. It's all us being spoken to.
That's a tough one to
I know I go
process.
far out.
All
I go
right, so
far.
let's go. I was working my way backward, but now we went forward, so now I got to go backward on this
I'm
one
sorry.
point. No worries at all. You get hit by a car. I don't want to say it was your fault, but how does that align with you habits, your body? Were you not paying attention? Where are you going with that one?
Okay. Hit by a car is an extreme example, but let's go with this. An external event. I'll reframe this. Why does this keep happening to me? We've all said it. We've all been there. We've all done it.
For sure.
That's a recurring pattern. So our psyche keeps attracting the same thing and it keeps getting worse because there's a part of us that we're not attending to. So we keep bringing it into our lives. We keep creating the circumstance. So, and again, I'm not saying that it's your fault if you got hit by a car,
Mhm.
but sometimes things happen to wake us up, to pull us out of a slumber, to change our course radically.
I get it.
And we can call it the hand of God. We can call it fate. We can call it whatever it is, And by the way, you getting hit by the car, and let's just hope it's not a real hit, is also for the driver of that car. It's also for the witnesses. That person may have something like they had to learn how to pay attention. And unfortunately, you were the object they learned it on. It's not in a vacuum.
Does that come under the umbrella of things happen for a reason?
It falls right under my very annoying thing that I say to people that they hate, which is everything is perfect. Because we can't quite understand that level. Why do bad things happen to good people? You know, let's take the getting hit by a car. You may be walking down the street in the city doing your thing and you're happy as the day is long. And then some jerk comes over and shoves you and you get all bent out of shape until you realize that person protected you from getting hit by a car. It's not what happens, it's how we process it.
Hmm.
You see, but if you didn't know that, you'd create an entire story and how nasty people are and everything else. Knowing that fact shifts the entire story. The fact is, the event remains unchanged. It's only your perception of it that shifts. And the perception of it is based upon your belief systems, your thoughts, your self-view, etc.
So let's work back to muscles.
Yes,
You mentioned that.
of course.
Is it your belief that the muscles hold everything? Well, the body for sure, but the muscles, the past traumas, the everything is sitting in there. It could even go back 10, 15, 20 years plus.
We can, depending on the schools of thought, definitely the muscles. And the muscles, the reason I always go back to muscles is muscles are the easiest. Muscles are instant. You have a tight muscle, I loosen the muscle. You have a tight muscle, I teach you to loosen the muscle. This all happens within seconds. Then we have the fascia. The fascia is a deeper level, even though it's more superficial in some respects. A lot is stored in the fascia. That's a crystalline matrix. And then there's the very deep stuff, and that may be stored in bones, teeth, etc. That's a whole other level
Hmm.
in one filter. In another filter, everything can be instantaneous, but it's stored in the body in various ways. Think about this. This is how cool it is. See, no one processes this way. That's look at the brain, and you have all these fMRIs, and it shows people's brains if they use AI too much and how the circuits go and all this other stuff. And we even call it brain plasticity. Plasticity. Now, let's extrapolate that to another level. Our brain changes its physiological structure by habitual patterns of thinking, acting, behaving, and processing. So we're literally getting physiological shifts as a result of thought patterns. And it happens through the musculature. Go and get yourself nice and stressed. Anyone listening, you want to have fun? Think back about the last time you got yourself a good, an activity you do every day, but that day it threw you off. And then look at the stress you were under. I promise 4 out of 5 of you will find it.
I agree. And while we're thinking, now we're going to pivot in another direction for a second.
Yeah.
You said think about. I've heard of a
Yes.
thing called the 17-second rule, where you're encouraged to think about something positive. You went on vacation years ago, or this year, whatever it is, just something that brings you joy, makes you feel good, and hold it for 17 seconds. That thought, that feeling, live it, and then start applying that to other situations, and it will start changing your life for the better in terms of raising your vibration. Do you believe that?
Oh, Steve, I think you're treading lightly. Do I believe it? So, number one, and this hit me the other day, it was so cool. We have trillions of cells in our body, right? Right. We agree. We know that if we're feeling glum, we don't feel as healthy. We know if we're stressed, we're more likely to get ill. So, the way I see it is, I am setting the weather for all of these cells running around doing their thing. They're living in their own little worlds. I'm setting the weather with my mood. So if I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of glum today. What I used to do is be like, well, today's just a lost day. And believe me, it's amazing. If I'm feeling out, I'll go to work. I'll have, a handful of people canceling. My day gets lighter. So that way I can just sort of sit there in my little glumness and be happy. Anyway, not really. And then I realized, holy moly, it's a choice. I can choose to do those 17 seconds. I can choose to change my weather. I can choose to give myself that good day. And that starts to become habitual. And then we're rewiring, we're reconstructing into the positive light. So, and that's just the physical aspect of it. We're attracting better things to ourselves. We're giving ourselves more energy. If you want to look at it from a strictly physical side, the easiest question is why the hell not? It makes everything better, you know?
Now, when we talk about, it doesn't work. I tried this, I tried that, it didn't work. It may be the practitioner. As we identified, they only go so far. Maybe they don't have an understanding. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they want to keep you as a patient. But you have to want to make change. You have to want to heal. The person I referred to that did hypnotherapy, not with you, this is going back 2 or 3 years. I use the practitioner. Beautiful, works. Yeah, fantastic. Lots of realizations and all. It didn't work for this person. After 3 sessions, they gave up. They said, "Yeah, I could continue. It's just, nah, it's a waste." I know their personality. I know they're or weren't ready to heal. I just know it. I don't even have a doubt. I was hoping that maybe this might, be the game changer, but it's them. They weren't ready. Do you feel many times when we say, it doesn't work, that's really what's going on there?
I got a book the other day. It's Gabor Mate. Brilliant, brilliant man. If you ever get a chance, just follow him on any social media. He's a psychiatrist, and he wrote a book about 20 years ago, and it's called When the Body Says No. It was amazing. I got the book, I ordered it, shows up in my office on Monday, but the patient I was working on needed the book more than I did, so I loaned it to her.
Mm.
What's happening with a lot of people is without self-love, without living from authenticity, when we're living from the fear side of our brain, when we're living from the side that tries to protect us by shutting us off. And it takes a lot to begin to overcome that. Really breaking that inertia. It's like driving a stick shift to get it into first gear. It's a lot of work. You have to learn how to begin to love ourselves. And the way our belief systems and our institutions are set up are so disempowering for our ability to heal. And a lot of people set up pathologies as their identity. They get so used to it. It serves a purpose, whether the purpose being an excuse to not engage in life or but not on a conscious level. It's a way to pull someone out of life. It's a way to try. It's our subconscious trying to get us to listen to something, but the fear. You see, I define
Mm.
courage. I try to connect to my intuition. I'm in this meditation seminar, and I connected to the intuition, and you know what I got? I got you've had it the whole time, but you did not have the courage to act on it.
Yep.
Because I got the messages, but then the logical mind yelled over it and said, nah, do this. It's the safe route. Do this. This will work better. And I dug myself into a deeper hole and I started to feel worse and worse. So it involves making those shifts. And that's the leap of faith. And without doing that, the body's going to keep asking us.
It takes a lot of courage to make those shifts.
Yeah.
And I get it. I live it almost every day. Like there's certain things I know I should change, direction I should go in, but then there's this, then there's that, then there's this. And sometimes you got to just go radical, cold turkey, if you will, and just make a shift, make a change. How do you do that? How do you throw that logic out of the way and then move forward?
That, believe it or not, we all have unique gifts. That's one of mine. That's also why had a basically lifelong battle with depression, anxiety, all that stuff. So my logical mind is really very, very powerful. And that is a recipe for depression. A lot of air quotes smart people, because we only emphasize that side of the mind in our society, which is actually highly toxic to do that. So the way that I work is very different from a lot of other people in this realm. The instructions that we're told, and most people follow, is the subconscious only understands the positive. The subconscious, oh, by the way, warning about affirmations. Why does nothing work? Because you're doing stupid affirmations. Sorry to be so blunt.
Give an example.
When I was depressed, I'm doing an affirmation. I love my life, blah, 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 all this other crap, right? I have never been so unhappy because my affirmation did not match my actual truth.
You're out of alignment.
Out of alignment. So people get told, oh, do this affirmation. I'm healthy and robust and wealthy. Meanwhile, you're like, eating beans out of the can, living in a gutter, and It's possible to actually have that work if your mindset matches it. But if it doesn't, it's just going to make you worse because you're lying to yourself. That's, by the way, the body does not like lies.
But also at the same time, you're setting expectations. And if you're not meeting the expectation with your affirmation, you're going to be more frustrated with yourself anyway.
Yeah. So that person, if they're like most people, their best one would be closer to I've turned the corner. So they can begin to that's believable. So what I work with on a lot of people is, and this is sort of dancing on the third rail. Um, I work to address through the logic. So when I hear people say something, a belief, oh, I can't do this because, oh, here's a simple one. My back went out because I did these exercises. That's what the woman told me. I'm like, how long have you been doing them? 2 years. How often? Twice a week. But how many times has your back gone out? Once. Okay, what's going on? And then she tells me all the stuff that's happening. I'm like, that's our variable. So right there, we're diffusing the logical side of the brain, the objection to her being healthy. We're looking at what's going on. Then we start addressing why the stress is happening, have tools to overcome that. Now we've listened to her body, we've validated what it's telling her. And so the body gets to quiet down and make her happier.
Is it okay to change your affirmations instead of, using things like, the I am statement? I am dot, dot, dot. And every day, maybe you make a couple of them. I am resilient. I'm full of courage. I'm creative. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but for a more effective outcome, is it okay to switch it around and say, I am, put a negative statement, and then end it with until now?
I'd be careful with that. The subconscious really does not understand negatives. And you're also implying the until now is putting a temporal relationship and it's creating a moment. I would rather say, so I'm afraid to speak with people until now for shyness, right? Would that be an example?
Fair enough. Sure.
Good. My comfort with speaking people is I'm becoming increasingly comfortable speaking with people. I enjoy engaging with new people. I'm learning the joys of engagement. Those are
So,
ones that I would use.
and it seems like it's more real. You are telling the
Yeah.
truth. Let's say you had a fear of meeting people, speaking with people. Maybe you're a little introverted. So instead of saying uh, a statement that's not true, like I am social. No,
Mhm.
but I am getting more comfortable speaking with people. It's an I am statement. It's positive.
Yeah. Here's why yours really doesn't work. And I'm sorry to do this, Steve.
No worries at all. I'm learning.
I am uncomfortable. I have been uncomfortable speaking with people until now. Here's why it doesn't work because you have not proven it. The belief has not been done. Now, if you had just come back from an event where you spoke with 10 new people and had a great time, then you could even say, I love engaging with new people. But you haven't. This is the hardest part of the entire game, the way it's played right now. Everyone thinks that they can heal by just imagining it. I used to believe that that's the spirituality traps. But in fact, what happens is we confront the limitation in real life. Now, I have had a couple that I confronted in dreams, but I did not expect it. And the only reason it happened is a lot of those people are no longer here. So I was given the gift of speaking up for myself, holding my space in a dream with a particular group of people. It was like a bunch of relatives. So where we have to overcome that fear. Every time we overcome this, we level up like in a video game. We get the cooler prizes. We become more ourselves. It's kind of like with Harry Potter and the Horcruxes, reclaiming parts of ourselves. Every part that we don't have. I don't like to speak with people. Why? Because I'm afraid of myself, because I'm afraid people won't like me. These are all nonsense beliefs that I'm projecting. Now, used to take a few drinks. Now I just go up and I'm a lot more comfortable because I love being me. And so I'm happier, healthier. I feel better than I have ever.
Final question. We're out of time. Got to ask it. You said something, and I want to get some clarification on it.
Of course.
It sounds like it's not a good thing to visualize you being a better person. Like visualize you being healthy. Visualize, vision board right on my wall right over there. Is that not a good thing?
That's a great thing, actually. You see, the affirmations are very different. The visualization is, if you're able to strongly visualize it, you're setting the vibration of. So if you're visualizing yourself climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, you're putting a pin in the sky at that point as a goal. And so your consciousness and your subconscious starts to come into alignment with that. When you're doing a mantra, you're setting a this instant. So if the mantra is going to be, I am healthy, but you feel like dirt, you have a conflict
Got it.
in this very moment. They're two completely, it's like banging on a piano.
I got it.
Whereas putting a pin in the sky is kind of like you have the bass line of the piano, which is going on right now, and then you're playing a nice high treble line. That's where you go.
You can't fool your internal BS detector.
No, and that's the funniest thing. My clients, my patients always lie to me, but they don't mean to. They lie to themselves first. And that's held in the body.
And that's why nothing works.
Always full circle, Steve.
Exactly. Wow. So interesting. Chris, best way to reach you if somebody wants to dig deeper into this, how do they do that?
Well, you can find me at, I think I'm Accelerated Healing on most platforms. I also have my scarsdalehealth.com. That's the acupuncture, and that'll have links, blogs, all this other stuff. And all my contact information is on that. So anyone can contact me that way. And I do coaching over Zoom, and I also do it in my office in Scarsdale, and acupuncture and everything else.
With everything you do, for me, it comes back to one thing. You are a healer. You're a healer.
I like to help people to heal. You see, I can't heal anyone, but I can help you to heal. I can help you to find your own ability. Real quick, a placebo pill does not make you better. A placebo pill takes away the false belief that you can't heal.
We'll end on that point. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. It's like I'm gonna be driving in my car thinking about this conversation for a week. Good stuff.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.